Bomba-dee-da, 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 bomba-dee-da,
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to Happy Trails. Matt's
Man,
jamming out.
I love the Atomic Punks, brother. They're fucking,
Yeah.
I mean, whoop, strike that. I love Carried Away on that. They
Don't
are
fall over
freak.
your chair.
They are freaking awesome.
I hope Matt doesn't fall over. He's getting a little wild.
Crazy,
I hope he doesn't
crazy
break.
this morning. Yeah. Hey, what do you mean by break? What, you got a problem?
No, I gotta have brakes on your car or you're in trouble.
Yeah, gotcha. Hey, happy trails, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We're back.
Thanks for coming and joining us again and learning some stuff about multifamily real estate. I'm Dr. Blaine McLaughlin from the big city of Robbins, Iowa, and it's winter here and it's getting cold again. We had a nice week though. I mean, it was like we had record highs in the 60s.
Wow.
Yeah, I was talking to our buddy out in California and Nancy, and she's
Nancy
like,
or
"What?"
Kim?
Nancy,
Okay.
Kitty. And I said, she goes, "Yeah, it's kind of cold here. It's like 56 and windy." And I said, "Really? It's 62 in Iowa right now."
Yeah.
We got you. We got
you. 50 degrees in California, they're wearing fur-lined coats.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, it's crazy.
I'm sure. Yeah.
They got these parkas on, and you see people, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like it's
No, it's easy to tell who is a local in when you go to Arizona in Phoenix
boom.
in the winter.
Yeah, you can see
Walking
that.
around. I'm walking around t-shirt and everybody else has got winter coats on. It's like, what?
For those listening or watching, Blaine always walks around in t-shirt. So it's the big thing is, can we get him to put on pants? That is the thing. You're gonna be hell. You're gonna be hell when you get older in the retirement home. Like they're gonna be chasing you down the hallway.
Yeah,
put on some pants.
And the real question is, do I have pants on right now?
If I'm going with the odds, the over under, I'm going no.
Oh man, you better get on YouTube, everybody, and watch this on YouTube.
So funny. Hey, I'm Matt Bynum. I am a dentist here practicing in Greenville, South Carolina. And together we are the Happy Trails Real Estate Podcast. Fastest growing podcast in the United States right now. Actually incredible. Thank you to everybody watching and listening and sharing. It's because of you, the reason that we are growing so fast. But by the way, it's 67 degrees here in Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was black below freezing this morning. So
I believe that maybe spring is here.
Is it raining? Because it's been raining in South Carolina for a couple months, from what I heard.
Yeah, it's something like that.
It'll be nice and green.
It's not raining today though.
Oh, good.
That's a plus.
Right.
So we got that.
What do we got going today, Matt?
Well, I got my Christmas mug like I always do. And
this got my Camelback for some water.
This is the boys, and
that's the other Christmas mug.
My friend, where is he? Santa Claus.
Santa, yeah.
We've gotten to know each other very well through the years, but this is my boys, and that was just a while ago, maybe not too long ago.
A little bit. They're a little larger than that now.
This is how I remember their names. I see these mugs that has their names on it.
Oh, then you're like, those are my kids. That's right.
Otherwise, I'm like, God, I don't know who the hell that is.
Well, out of sight, out of mind. They're out of the house. It's like, who are they?
It's true. It's true statement.
Did they ever live here?
True statement. So, hey, last week we kind of did the what we do. We did Brad Sumrock review, didn't we?
Yeah, we did the market update, or the 2024 market update. Or prediction, basically, not necessarily an update, but a prediction of what's to come for the year and what all the experts are saying.
From our one of our mentors, Mr. Brad Sumrock, because some rock and
some don't. Yeah.
All right. So hey, I mentioned last week, one of the things we can elaborate on that we barely touched on in that update was to talk about market selection. And simply put, everybody is now looking at the time where we're going to start investing in some properties, because I know we've been doing this for a year. You've got solid information. We're going to be repeating some things over and over, but we'll elaborate a little differently than we did last time. And it's coming on springtime. Rates are predicted to drop, which is great. The Fed's allegedly going to be dropping the rates, which is nice for those that are ready to get in the game.
It just adds a lot of confidence to the whole market scene too.
It does.
I
And I
mean,
think
and some of it is again, I think you pointed this last week. It's not necessarily good or bad. You just have to make sure the deal works.
right.
But it's the confidence in the whole market. You know, I mean, if you watch the stock market, it goes up and down based on how people are feeling that day, right?
True.
It's
True
not
statement.
it's not on, hey, did this company make money? It's like, oh my God, there's somebody, you know, bombed Ukraine and or whatever. And it's like, everybody's all sad. And so then the market drops. It's like, well, it has nothing to do with the income of that company that I invested in or what's going on, you know, inside their ranks. It's so anyway, but the dropping of interest rates will help just the general feel of in the real estate market as well. And so people are going to be getting excited and making stuff happen.
Yeah. So as people are getting excited and starting to make things happen, you know, they've got to decide where are we going to invest money. What apartment deals are we going to get involved in? Which people are we going to follow? Which of the people we know, like, and trust? Which of the GPs that I met through the years are those that I'm going to listen to? That kind of thing. So, and as they spread their properties investments out, you know, they're looking for different things as well. So, choosing that particular market of where to invest your money in that particular multifamily unit is going to be critical. So, there's basically 5 things that we look for in that area as taught by Brad, and we've kind of followed these. What we'll do today is we'll elaborate a little bit on some of these, so that way it just brings a little bit more of the education component to what we're teaching today. So, first and foremost is in market selection is to choose a landlord and business friendly, I'm going to say state, but you know, we could say city because city to city is different, county to county is different. But overall, I'm going to say landlord and business friendly state. Now, when you hear that, Blaine, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Why? What makes something friendly? I mean, it's just like you go up and talk to the people in the state, in the government, and they're like, "Hi, how are you? Good to see you."
Yes.
That's
Yes.
friendly, right? That's friendly.
That is.
Or do they look at you and go, "Get away from me, I'm busy." I
Yes.
mean, that's not what we're talking about. We're not
No?
talking about that.
No?
No.
Because
We're
I've been to Robbins, Iowa, and they are friendly.
yes, that's very true. In
Very
multiple
friendly.
ways. There are multiple ways.
Yes.
But no, we're looking at people, at governments, whether it's a city government, state governments have a lot to do with this. And are there laws promoting small businesses? And is it beneficial and helpful for small businesses to form, continue to grow and develop? And that's
Sure.
what when we say landlord friendly, and you get specifics into real estate and apartment complexes like we are, you're looking for, you know, one of the main things is, can you evict somebody? I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody's not paying rent and you're like, you got to get out of here, well, there's a lot of rules you have to go through. And depending on the state, it makes a huge difference. Huge difference. So you know, in friendly states, say Texas, shocker there. We talk about that a lot. If you want to evict somebody, I think you know, you go to a judge, and within a couple weeks, I think you can get people out. Matt, you probably know more about that
It actually takes a
with
little longer than a couple of
with
weeks.
BDO,
It's
a
more
month
in
or
the
two.
process because there's a process. You've got to get the court date. You've got to get things done. So I'm going to say 2 months.
All right, all
I'm
right.
going to say anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks is usually when you can make something like that happen in a timely fashion. Having said that, you know, you got to remember there are places in this country that that are run by a different thought process in government that says, you know, if I inhabited the apartment complex and the apartment and began to live there, even though I wasn't paying any rent, guess what? It's my apartment.
Yes.
And we can call those people squatters. And
Yep.
there are laws that protect squatters in certain states in this country. I'm not going to just totally do a beat down on any particular state, California, and I don't want to do that, Washington. I really want to stick to
New York,
New York, friendly Oregon. Things I want to be. I want to be on the up and up, and just just not just bash any of those particular states that I won't mention. So but you do have to look at these places. Yes, you could command probably a higher rental fee, probably sell for a higher number if I'm selling an apartment complex in Huntington Beach, California. Wouldn't that be great? But what is the tax advantages? Are they the same as if I put an apartment complex in Robbins, Iowa? Yes, Robbins, Iowa, you're not looking at the beach like you might be in Huntington Beach, but maybe by the time you break down all the fees and less taxes and things like that, maybe the sale of a apartment complex in Robbins, Iowa is comparable to a sale of a multifamily in Huntington Beach. Who knows?
Yeah, especially if you're living near Lebowski's.
Yes.
Because that's a great place to go have dinner and a drink. So,
yeah, exactly.
The other thing that I've heard is not only is it the eviction process, but there's also rent control. So some governments, say some of those we won't mention in California.
Yeah.
They have a process where they can, as a landlord, you can only raise rents so much a year. Okay. So how does that affect an apartment complex? And they're trying to protect the people that live there from getting freaking blown out of the water with huge increases in rent, right?
Right. And you know what? I get that.
I do too.
I totally understand that. But the thing that supersedes that is what are the tenant improvements? What are the
ramifications of all that?
What are you bringing to the table that changes that you are being dictated how much you can and cannot raise rent? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you can only raise rent 1% a year, if that's what the state law says, but your property tax is going up 5% a year, your other expenses are going up 5% a year, everything else is increasing 5% a year, and you can only raise rents 1% a year. What's the landlord, the owners? What's their options? Right, their options are to defer maintenance, defer repairs because they can't afford them because everything else is costing so much money. Right. So then, and they did a huge study on this out on the West Coast, and I don't remember who did it, but I read it and it talked about these places with rent control. The complexes fell apart because the landlords couldn't afford. And again, it seems like a good idea initially, but give a few years later, and they couldn't maintain it. And so, then all of a sudden, one of our goals is to build a nice place for people to live and help. We want to help the working class find a nice place to live that they can enjoy and feel at home and feel some family camaraderie with the other tenants. You can't do that if you're like, nope, you can't raise rents at all. And so, I mean, it's just, so it has backfired a bit on that, I must say. So that occurs in quite a few different states, and you got to know where that is. And again, if you can make it work, and I mean, maybe there's some people that do it, because obviously people are buying and selling apartment complexes in California and New York.
Yep, they're doing it. It just, maybe it's the way they put the deal together. Maybe they're taking less return. Who knows? Maybe they're killing it. You know what I mean? It's but I'm going to
not our style.
I'm going to look at the averages around the country. I'm going to go with, like Brad mentioned last week, he's partial to working in red states, not blue states. That doesn't mean that all blue states are bad.
Or green states.
Greenies. Never
mind.
Anyway, I think you had a green donut or brownie this morning. Cookie.
Nope.
I'm not sure. Can't confirm or deny that. So, hey, average percent that rent is being increased every year around the country? 2 to 3%?
On average, between 2 and 3%. Yep. 2
to 3%. So you should, I mean, and again, you may think, gosh, that's a lot. Well, if you just stop for 1 second and just pay attention to what's happening with the inflation around you right now, do you have an idea what inflation's done in the last, I don't know, 6 months or a year? I mean, just those numbers alone require some kind of justification of movement of rent to accommodate the people that are putting it together. That's how it works. So I don't know. I'm a big proponent of this. I think where we get lost in the weeds is when you start dealing with gentrification and going into a very poor suburb that serves maybe a low income population, and you're gonna build this brand new high rise that's gonna change the whole face of the rental structure in the area. I kind of have a problem with that. Because if there's people that live in these areas that need to live there for that reason, then I want to honor those people, but why can't we slowly bring rents up and give them a better place to live, right, Blaine?
Yeah,
That's like you
exactly.
said, that's part of the process of
Yeah.
what we do in multifamily is the tenant improvements and what we do with the money that comes in to bring those improvements so people want to live there, take care of the place, uh, become friendly with the owners and the other tenants. Just take pride in what's going on. The only way to do that is to bring some level of improvement to other people. So that's one of the things we try to do. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. And it's certainly hard to do any value add if you can't increase the, to add the nice amenities that a lot of people want. In order to add that, it costs money. And if you can't increase your rent, you can't do that. And again, then things head backwards into the dark
Yeah.
ages.
Dark. They get
Dark.
Number 2, above average job growth. Now, I think we can all pull up on our phones and a computer, and we can pull up the cities with the most growth in the United States. I believe that the top markets that Brad had mentioned, with one city in particular, has been leading the charge for many years, is Dallas Fort Worth. So if we have above average job growth, what that means is we have companies that are coming in to these particular areas, states, cities, for the advantages that are usually tax related. So why would Tesla move their plant to, why are they looking Texas? You tell me. Are the taxes better in Texas, Blaine, than in Iowa?
Yeah, well, income tax, and
Yep.
that's one of the things we talk about population growth too. Oh,
Yep.
that's the next one. Can we go there yet?
We can combine them
Population and job growth, and Texas has
because
no income
they
tax.
fit hand in hand.
They do, hand
See
in
this?
hand. The fingers are intermingling.
What is the one? And here's the people in the steeple, or whatever that is.
Over there, here's the church. Here's the
Look at
steeple.
this.
Open up the doors and look at all the people.
The people there to something like that. Whatever. I never did that lame game. Whatever it is.
That was back in the old Lutheran church days across the street in
Okay.
Desert.
Wow.
Bam.
That's
Wow.
taken way back. Old school.
But there's no income tax, state income tax in Texas. So hey, bam,
Nice.
woo-hoo.
Nice.
People are like, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'd say.
And as opposed to, I don't know, California. Again, we dog California all the time because we can.
Yeah, you can.
And because it's a lot of this stuff is actual facts. I don't know what the state income tax is in California. I know in Iowa it's 9%, which is fairly high. And our governor has passed a law a year or so ago that's going to reduce that and cut it in half over the next few years. And the big reason for that is to help keep people in Iowa. That's what they said. That's what the news told me. They're trying to keep people from moving away, and lowering the income tax, they think, is one way to do it. So
I'd probably say that would work.
I mean, so when you look at places that don't have state income tax, that seems very friendly. Obviously, they're getting taxes from somewhere. But
I think another thing would be to put these giant windmill fans and turn them on high to push the cold weather away from the states. They turn them on and push all the weather going different direction.
Well, they actually need to. It depends on the time of year.
Yeah, and then
put some heaters. Turn them around. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they put little misters on in the summer, and then they can blow, and it can just mist the whole south.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
To keep it cool.
Wouldn't that be? We
I
should
think
invent that.
I
We should invent that.
didn't God create that when he made clouds?
He might have invented that with rain and mist and things.
Right.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Here's the
Hey, so
church. Here's the steeple.
there
Open
we
up the
go.
doors and look at all the people.
There we go. Hey, so talking about job growth, one of the things that we're always constantly harping on is when we're looking at an area to invest in, you want to look at the infrastructure, what's happening in that particular city. What are the roadways like? Are they expanding roads? Are they totally bottlenecked? Is there only 2 lanes everywhere? What stores and what restaurants and what quick fast food are popping up? One of the key indicators that I've seen is anywhere where there's going to be a Starbucks or now in the South, you got to understand this. This is the South, so we're in Greenville. Wherever a Bojangles pops up, I got news for you, people. They've done the market research. They're not just popping up a Bojangles just to put up a Bojangles. Another one that's big out here, the dollar store.
Yeah.
Dollar store. By the way, there's not one damn thing that's $1 in the dollar store. I just want you to know that.
When was the last time you were in there?
It's been a long time, but they were like $3 and $5. It's not $1. There's nothing $1.
They should rename it to the dollar-ish store.
They should put or put S in parentheses.
Dollars store.
But hey, so these are real things. So this is when I'm looking at whenever I pull into a new city, get off the plane, I'm taking an Uber, or I'm taking a cab, I'm looking around and I'm trying to pay attention to what the growth pattern is. What do I see that's new? What are the restaurants that are popping up? Are they building they're not building new malls anywhere, people. I don't know about your area, but malls are kind of on the way out because you can do everything online now. That said, there's a lot of conversion in these malls that are being moved to commercial properties and office spaces and things like that are happening around the country. It's really interesting. But so the mall is not just going vacant and sitting there empty. They're doing some different things with these things. But when you see that type of growth and you see the roadways being expanded, you got to start wondering, if they're expanding roads, they're anticipating big growth. What's coming out here? Well, I'll give you 2 big instances out here in the Greenville area. Just recently announced, probably 2.5 months ago, even though it was on the Whisper. And what do we know about Whisper stuff? Whisper Prize, Whisper things. Those are all under market. People are hearing about it and they're gossiping. It's gossip. So the gossip and the whisper going on out here in Woodruff, South Carolina, was that BMW was building their very first battery plant to supply batteries to all the BMWs that are fabricated in the United States and abroad. So I got news for you. That's a pretty big plant, right? So we hear this. Next thing you know, all these little farms that were out there that I used to ride my bicycle when training for Ironman stuff years and years ago.
Wow.
The farms are gone. And now it is nothing but dirt and roadways being put in place.
Yeah.
So
I remember going by there.
And I might have had the number wrong earlier, Blaine, but I think I'm right in this. The estimate at the time was they were building 150,000 new home sites out in the Woodruff area.
That's crazy.
The new number that's come out is, I believe, 350,000 homes. That's 200,000 more, almost 500,000 new homes in the Woodruff area because of this one particular BMW battery plant. Because not only is it BMW that's coming there with a plant, it's all the little subsidiary companies that supply all the little parts and pieces and plastics and things that come with BMW to do that. So all of these homes that are being built are strictly out in this area that, candidly, if you were to drive through it 4 years ago, you would have been like, well, I guess I go here when the watermelon picking's coming into town. And now you drive out there and guess what's out there? What did I say? Starbucks, Bojangles, Dollar Store, McDonald's, Publix grocery. Whenever you see brand new stuff like that,
big old chains,
and they're ahead of the curve. We're talking those got established, a year ago.
Millions of dollars doing research on this stuff.
Yep, year and a half ago, and that's where the growth is. Announced just recently was that Tesla is building a distribution center in Fountain Inn, South Carolina. Hey, guess what? I got a property going up in Fountain Inn, South Carolina, which is very nice. And then outside of that are small towns in my area called Gray Courts and Possum Kingdom and stuff like that are moving their way out toward a place called Greenwood, South Carolina, where there's supposed to be another big announcement coming up as well. I believe it's going to be another Tesla thing. And so just
Dang.
imagine the growth that is going to be happening in these small towns as we move out. So I'm really keeping my eyes on what's happening, paying attention to what's being said. We've got people that are feeding us a lot of information in regards to different land deals and things like development deals. So as we hear that, we know that the growth is happening. So those are
Wow.
really, really big things that are happening here in Greenville. So Greenville, even though it's not on Brad's list, it used to be on his secondary
It's
10
up and
list.
coming.
Is up and coming. It wasn't on his up and comings this time, but
He didn't really have an up and coming list.
no, he kind of didn't.
No, he just had the top 10 properties, but
I figured he would.
usually he throws out. Maybe we'll get. I bet we get that in April when we
Yeah,
go to
probably
Rat
so.
Race. Hopefully I'll go to Rat Race. Business.
So that would be job growth.
Well, and let me
population growth.
interject here.
Yep.
You know, you guys know I'm in a build to rent community down in north side of Texas, north side of Dallas. I mean, and this town is like the population was like 3,000 people like 3 years ago. It's like 20,000 now. I mean, this is going crazy. They are putting in a Kroger, and that's a huge grocery store chain.
Yep, they're big.
They're putting in a Walmart, and Walmarts are obviously do their research in this place. They're putting in a Buc-ee's. Isn't that the big old guy? See, we don't have those up here. We don't have those up here, but I hear they're pretty. I think Fred Meyer was at one, but with one of our friends. Anyway, so they're doing stuff like that, opening up, and they're planning on opening in 2024, 25 for those planes. So I mean, there again, that's a great sign. When you look at that stuff, you're like, hey, should we have a housing complex here? If they're putting that stuff in, yeah, they're planning on supporting hundreds of thousands of people, not 20 or 15,000.
And people need a place to live.
Yeah.
And why not rent? Because that's the trend right now is people are finding more rentals than they are buying because they can't qualify.
Because of is this our next one? The affordability gap?
Yeah, you can get into that. Yeah.
Affordability gap. See how I segue everything into the next? Segue this into that.
Hey, before we do that though, because we hinted on this earlier. We were talking about Texas. Why do people want to go to Texas?
Because it's warm.
Warm is one.
No, I mean, there's population growth, job growth.
Is there state income tax?
No state income tax.
No state income tax. How about low tax? Cost of living, higher cost of living, lower cost of living.
There you go. Lower cost of living
compared to some of your other states that we won't mention, California, whatever, New York, that kind of thing. Lots of outdoor recreation technology. How about places like, South Carolina? Cost of living, high or low?
Probably on the way up.
It is on the way up, but I'd still say in the lower
probably
end.
Fair deal. Yeah, Iowa's very low cost of living. Obviously,
state income tax.
Midwest.
We do have state income tax.
Do you know what the rate is?
6.5, I think.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Could be wrong, but I think it's 6.5. Warm weather. We have some cold, but the growth in the climate of growth in business is going crazy here. So while this might not be on Brad's top 10, I guarantee you this has got to be still on his up and coming because the growth rate's crazy. I'll give you another city, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
You just drive your car through Charlotte, North Carolina on your way up to Raleigh. Well, he did mention
he did mention Raleigh.
Raleigh-Durham was in his top 10. Raleigh-Durham is roughly not quite 4 hours, maybe 3 hours, 45 minutes from Greenville, straight north. Drive through Charlotte to get to Raleigh-Durham. Raleigh-Durham is nuts. It's like Charlotte. There is so much road construction and so much building that's going on everywhere. The infrastructure is blowing up. Companies are moving there left and right. Tech industry is going crazy. So once you catch wind of all these things, these are things that you have to start looking at and paying attention to. And you know what? If I'm going to be putting a place, let's say up in North Carolina, I want to know who my North Carolina GP people are, Matt Ketterman. So that's somebody that is involved with some of our stuff in San Antonio. He's doing things up in North Carolina, especially in Raleigh and Charlotte. He's somebody I'm going to talk to. This Texas deal that you're talking about, I'm going to talk to the Kitty sisters. I'm going to talk to several people that we know through Dallas and through Sunrock that are moving in those circles. But I'm for sure going to make sure we talk to somebody that is aware and knowledgeable in that category. So talk about the affordability gap.
Well, the affordability gap is the difference that it costs a family to live in a nice apartment versus a entry level house or average house. And at this point in time, the difference is as big as it's ever been in the history, meaning it costs you a lot more to buy and live in a house than it does to rent an apartment complex. So it's pricing a lot of people out of housing, out of buying housing, and so then they have to go rent. And so that's good for people who own apartment complexes, right? And so in the obviously the big part of that, excuse me, is interest rates going so high makes housing a lot more expensive. So as those come down, you'd think the gap would narrow a little bit, but I mean it's compared to the past, it's huge. I mean the difference is so much bigger now. The inflation thing over the last year or so, killed it, made things a lot more expensive. Not only living in general, but housing. Family home, single family home. So
big time.
That's a big one. And yeah, I pulled up this graph that I was going to tell you, share with you guys a little bit. It talks about the salary you need to afford a home in your state, and it's kind of an average home. And just kind of throwing out some numbers for Iowa. They say the average the minimum salary you need is 44,000.
Pop it up.
Hey, are we gonna screen share?
Yeah, screen share it.
Hey, all right, man, hang on.
I'm ahead of the curve here. I hit the button.
Well,
see if I did it right.
Boom.
Boom.
There it is.
Boom. Drop that.
So here's your Iowa 40,000. Obviously, Midwest is a little less expensive, right? We kind of all know that. Just the cost of living is cheaper. We got South Carolina 58,000, 60,000. Okay. And so, I kind of base this that 1/3 of your income is spent on housing. And that's a general number that we've heard over and over again. People can afford up to about 1/3 of their salary to spend on housing. After that, they can't do it. They got other expenses they got to pay for. You look at Texas at 66. I bet that has gone up quite a bit in the last 10, 15 years.
I would bet too.
Hey, let's roll over to California, 120, twice as much as Texas. And so, why are people moving out of California? It's so expensive to live.
We don't have enough time in the podcast to go through that.
But the West Coast is all just, pretty big numbers.
Look at Colorado. Look at Colorado, Blaine.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
I know.
That's surprising.
Well, you think?
Well, I mean, I think I understand the whole liberal stance within the state, but I mean, is it weather that people want to get the hell out of there? I mean, what?
I think in general, my brother lives in Colorado. He says that he lives in the Front Range, which is basically Denver, and he's down in Colorado Springs. And that's grown like crazy. And he said the climate here is fantastic. He loves the climate there. He goes, in the wintertime, it gets a little cold, but we'll have warm days. We'll get some snow. It'll melt. It's not like you get frigid, Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota type thing that you have to live through. So, and then of course you got all the resorts and the ski resorts and, the tourism stuff out there. I mean, those things, that's hugely expensive. So I'm sure that drives up that price a lot. I was a little surprised to see Colorado that high.
Yeah, me too. That's why I was just saying that. Now Hawaii, I mean, 153, 520. Yeah, if you haven't been to Hawaii, you should go just to see that. Just to see. I mean, I remember in the early days going to McDonald's, and you could get a meal at McDonald's back when we were kids and in high school for, at home for $5, and it was like in Hawaii it was 15. And we were like, what? It's how much?
Yeah. Anyway. I know. I was just in Hawaii, Matt.
Yes, you were.
I spent some good quality money there.
Did you have
some good food and some
Did you have
expensive
some
stuff.
Loco Moco?
I did have Loco Moco. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have
Not it.
Did you have Pacalolo?
No.
Not even in a gummy?
No. What? What?
Not even in a
No, I don't
gummy?
know what you're talking about.
I'm kidding.
Anyway.
Pacalolo. Yeah.
Uh, so anyway, it's just
I love
there's
this. I love this this pop-up, dude.
yeah, well, we're cool. We're tech savvy here.
Yes, we are. What's the
So,
lowest? What's the lowest that you can see in there?
I see
Lowest bid.
Ohio at 38. I thought maybe Michigan. Michigan's at 40, Ohio's 38.
Wow.
That looks like it would be the lowest. In West Virginia, 38.
Wow.
So
Wisconsin's sitting up there in the
50.
50,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Okay.
in Minnesota, you got the Twin Cities up there, which are they got a lot of industry up there. It's
Right.
growing pretty well. So
Right. Very cool.
all
Very
right.
cool. That's a good addition.
Okay.
You know, the one thing we did skip over was above average rent growth and occupancy. So again, that just goes with all the standard per population growth and job growth as well, that, you know, the rent growth that's happening is we're having to build apartment complexes to accommodate the amount of people, but that also means there's more less occupied apartment complexes, right? More people going to come in. That means more opportunity, upfits, upgrades, that kind of thing. I'm still going to look at the main thing, which is going to be population job growth.
Right.
Always. And I think I don't know, we missing anything?
Well, I mean, just keep in mind, this isn't state to, I mean, we talk about the states a lot because that's a general number, but or general round, group you can talk about, but a lot of this is totally local, right? I mean, you got to know your local, and we talk about that too, all the time. You got to know your market, your local market, sub-market, not just the state or the city. There's parts of cities that are good, parts of cities that aren't good. And so you really got to know this stuff. So it's nice to have boots on the ground. It's nice to have people familiar with that area itself, or, you can go there yourself and hang out for a while. And
I think another thing to pay attention to is what is that growth that's going on? What is the job growth? Is it, is it Google? Is it Tesla? Is it John Deere? Because maybe John Deere is attracting more of a worker that's
farmer.
But workers that are maybe a little more seasoned. Maybe they're looking at people 35 plus, and maybe some of the other places are looking for people that are 20 to 35.
Yeah.
The younger person, the 20 to 35 professional, is probably looking to rent more than
More
they
likely
are
to rent. Yep.
to buy. Whereas a family that's average age 40 is probably looking to buy a home. So there's differences. Those are things we're going to pay attention to, and that you should be paying attention to as well, as what industry is moving into the area, and what is the average age of that population growth from the industry. So, I love it.
All right, rock on.
Hey, that's good stuff, Blaine.
I know we always have good stuff.
Hey, out there, if you like the stuff that we're delivering, again, you've made us the fastest growing podcast out there in the United States. So let's continue that. Share with your friends.
Maybe even North America.
Maybe North America.
Well, we'll have to see if we got a study on that.
Yeah.
Maybe more than the.
Next week we are going to be coming to you from across the country. Well, I will be.
Oh, of course you will.
I'll be in Budapest.
Nice. And I will be in Iowa.
Allegedly, there's a Buddha and then there's a pest. Like you have to cross a river. I didn't know this.
Huh.
So it should be fun.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Maybe we'll do it live. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see what the population rent growth is going on over there.
In Budapest?
Yeah, maybe we'll put an apartment up there. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
You want in on that?
If they're got some friendly landlord-friendly laws.
I don't know about the friendly being in a country as close to Ukraine as that is, but you never know.
You never know.
Hey guys, seriously, give us a like, give us a shout, share with your friends, send your questions in. Not only questions about today's podcast, but any questions you may have. We'd love to talk about those on the show. And again, We're here because we want to learn as much as we can, and we want to take you with us. And if we don't know it, we'll sure tell you. We don't, we'll find out.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Because we don't know everything, and we don't know nothing. So there you go.
Bam.
That's
You
it.
got it.
Hey, happy trails, everybody. Till next
Happy trails.
time.
Take care.
Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and